Thanks for staying with us. The federal government has said that there was no bias in the payment of salaries to members of the Academic Staff Union of Nigeria, ASUU. The government pointed out the members of ASUU were paid their October salary pro rata and not half salary, as reported. A statement by the head of Press and Public Relations, Federal Ministry of Labor and Employment, Olajide Oshundun, explained a pro rata was done because they cannot be paid for work that they didn't do. What are your thoughts on this? Should the federal government pay ASUU for the 8 months that did not work? That's from February to October. What are your thoughts on this? Do you believe that the federal government should pay them regardless of the fact that they didn't work, or they shouldn't pay them because they didn't work? You can call us 081-270-53687, 091-390-7694. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. Now, this is becoming more controversial because it seems like the federal government plans to pay KONUA, which is now the new organization, the new union that's been formed recently, that was recently approved. And though there were no students to be in schools, but the argument is professors, the lecturers don't always just teach. They also research. They do their papers. So there's so many stuff that's still ongoing that is not just about teaching in the classroom. So what are your thoughts? Do you think the federal government should pay, or do you think their payments could set a precedence of, it's okay, you can go on strike? What are your thoughts on this? Please call us on the numbers on your screen. BC, you'd like to go first on this?
Yes. So I always knew that at the end of the day, the students will be at the receiving end of this. Because right now, nobody's thinking about the students' well-being. ASUU has stayed off from work for 8 months. Now they want to come back. And the argument is they are going to jam-pack everything they had lost. Students will now begin to do crash courses, take examinations, and so that they can mop up the time lost. Everything will be crashed. And I am worried about that because we have always sat here to complain that most times we have half-baked students. It's not about jam-packing the whole thing that they have lost. The time frame. There's a time frame in curriculum that when you teach, there's an expected time for assimilation, for understanding. They're not putting that into consideration. You want to come and rush the whole work so that you can get your pay. I think it's unfair on the students. And what we have is everybody's doing crash courses. We're reading to pass. You graduate from school and you can't remember anything that you have read. That is not the kind of education we're looking forward to. So I would have said, since all of us are tightening our belts, we want the revitalization funding to be done. We want to be able to have proper infrastructure, lecturers paid properly. Can't we all suffer this and move the session? So don't crash it. Don't put it together. Students need time to assimilate and understand. We have lost this session. We repeat that session so that students will have their ample time. So now you're just, because you want to get the money, you're just jam-packing everything. It's annoying to me. I really don't like that.
Let me come to you,
I think that conversation should go in that line.
Because I think what I thought Bisi was saying earlier was the fact that kids have lost 8 months.
Yeah.
And you as a lecturer, you decided that you have to go on strike to make a point. You're going to make the sacrifice to get out of the classrooms and to insist that government does what it's supposed to do. Now that you've somehow reached a compromise, you're hoping that they can help you cover your lost grounds by paying your 8 months salary. So who's going to cover the lost grounds for the students who have lost 8 months of their learning? What are your thoughts on this?
See, this ASUU and federal government issue, there are no winners. There are no winners, and I hope ASUU has that at the back of their mind. The students certainly are the losers here. But, between the federal government and ASUU, they should just, compromise on both sides. No winners, really. The Minister for Labour insisted that as soon as ASUU wrote to them that they have resumed following the Court of Appeal decision, he has directed that the Ministry of Finance resume payment of salary, then done on ratings of pro rata that's based on number of days that they can attest to from the suspension. ASUU has done the calculation to say, no, they are paying us half-half. But they are saying, no, we're not paying half-half, it's even worsening the situation. I love that the Speaker of the House of Reps mediated in this matter and tried to find a balance. And it's still, I think it's still the only sense of reasoning between both parties now. They should quickly stem any provocative words used at this time. On the part of ASUU, I love their doggedness, but at this point, there are no winners. There has to be a compromise. Yeah. If federal government is saying their hands are tied, finances are tough, and all of that, ASUU, your goal was to establish that, you know, certain things be given to the university educational system in Nigeria. There should be investment and improvement of infrastructure in these schools, and as well as increase in salaries. And all of this have been agreed on. What has passed. Can we leave what we have, you know, lost in the past? And if they are giving you something to even buffer it, can you just take it and let us move on? Because really, if you ask federal government to start this argument on no work, no pay, they have laws. That's why the National Industrial Court did not back ASUU on this. And they went on appeal, they lost their appeal. So it is not, there are laws that, you know, that they can stand on. Can we just find a middle ground?
Let me come to you, because it goes back to the Nigerian story, me, myself, and I. And I'm going to fight because sometimes all the hustle, all the struggling, all the human rights. Yes, let's fight. If you dig deep, it's myself. It's not about Nigeria. I'm not fighting for the children. I'm not fighting for the Nigerian youth. It is my pocket. Because that's what we're seeing. Like, at the end of the day, after all that noise, it is about pay us back that 8 months we've lost. Or do you think it is their right to get that salary?
Okay, so human nature is inherently selfish. We are meant to protect ourselves. That's why we are still surviving. So there's really nothing bad in trying to preserve yourself. Okay. I am all about investment. I'm always teaching on this. So yesterday I was explaining that investment is taking pains in this season because of the hope of a better future. So you have invested, ASUU has invested 8 months in fighting for a better future, not just for themselves, for the students, for future lecturers, for the future of university education in Nigeria. It is an investment of 8 months. Oga, you will not get paid, but it is the price you paid. You are paying it, and you must pay it with pride. Don't let your the hunger of what you've gone through take away the suffering that you've gone through and rob you of the investment and the assets that you should get in future. You have paid the price. This is the price you pay. Strikes will continue to happen if nobody suffers any pain from this, if only the students are suffering. So if strike happens, the students miss out school time, they have more years to spend in university. ASUU loses money, is part of it. Yeah. But you achieve your goal. When people are fighting, the struggle we're seeing in developed countries, everywhere we go to where we see people, the democracy we have today, people died for it. You know, people must be willing to understand that I will make this sacrifice for the greater good. So here's my own. ASUU, you have made an amazing sacrifice. I am happy a lot of children are back in school. Don't water down the huge activity that you have done by being petty with how much and how much back and forth. Stay your ground that all the promises be fulfilled. All the monies they will give for capital investment into the education sector, all of them should come through. That should be the goal, not on how much they should pay previously. Please, let's move forward.
Let me go on a break. When we come back, to take a few phone calls and hear from the viewers. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing ASUU, and the issue is, should they be paid for the 8 months that they were on strike? We'd like to hear from our viewers. You can call us on the numbers on your screen, 081-270-53687, 091-390-76948. You can also tweet to us at TVC Connect. Please hashtag your view TVC so we can read your tweets. VC.
Yes, so I want to remind us that he that must come to equity must come with clean hands. I've spoken on the side of the government that I don't think ASUU should get the money that they have not worked for. However, this October, they should have been paid full salary. Do you understand? It's not everything that you open your mouth wide to explain. There are some things you just make that consensus here and make the consensus. A few weeks ago on this table, we're talking about pensions of ex-governors, people who just served 4 years, 8 years. These lecturers are giving their lives. They have their counterparts in other countries, they know what they are earning. But they are here and they are helping students. There are some things you just let it slide. If you had paid, though they resumed on the 18th or so, you had paid full salary, then we'll understand that the sacrifices of 8 months has gone. We're starting afresh. We have loopholes in the government system where people are eating money. ASUU members are human beings. They have bills to pay. The government should have considered that. We can say, okay, we can give you some. We can pay out this one, but you will have to forfeit this one. You just meet them somewhere. You don't just stand your ground, make up your mind and say, suffer. Meanwhile, you that just serves for 4 years, 8 years, you for life. The taxpayers' money will be taking care of you, getting you new cars, drivers and all that. Please now, let's be sensitive.
Let me take this call from Solomon. Solomon, are you there? Thanks for calling. You're live from K2. Go ahead.
I just want to go to the discussion.
Yes. Go ahead.
I think we lost it.
Oh, we lost that call.
Okay, so
yes,
I
Nima.
wanted to say that if we are doing things legally, let's know we are doing it legally. If ASUU is in court or the federal government is in court and they're sticking to what the law says, let them do that. But if they're following the mediation that the Speaker of the House of Reps is doing for them, then they must always balance things. If you're doing justice, you cannot wipe one child's head and wipe one child's head. Why would the federal government at all even let somebody suggest that Conwa is going to be paid full salary in the schools that ASUU shut down? Let's assume that Conwa was coming to school every day. Where were the students that they were teaching? If lecturing was what they were supposed to be paid for, even if it's for researches, most of the lecturers who were members of ASUU were at home were continuing their researches because most of them were, of course, maybe doing it abroad, with schools abroad. But if Conwa is to be paid and they're going to be paid full salaries, they should be paid along the same salaries with ASUU.
But it goes back to what Bisi was saying, that, you see, when we are trying to fix, we are solution conscious. We're trying to fix a problem. You see, we understand government wants to do carrot and stick, but there's sometimes where, listen, I'm trying to put palliatives in for ASUU. I'm trying to bring them back to say, we are here for you. When you have a government that is leading, not ruling. But I keep hearing people talk about the rulers. We've passed that level of rulers. We need leaders in government who are saying, okay, 8 months, you're done. Just like you said, October salary, I'll pay you full salary.
It's not even that. It's thinking for the greater good.
Aha, thank
What's
you so
the
much.
greater good here?
Yes.
Do you want another set of few weeks to
Disgruntled.
negotiate the challenges of half salary? Why don't we, if we say that we want the greater good, we've gotten these children back into, and it's because the government, there's no consequence on the government side. The government has put in consequences for ASUU in that you don't get paid when you don't work. There's a law backing it. The students are suffering. There's no lecture. They spend an extra year. What is the government paying for this? If governments if they know that I might lose my re-election bid, you see the American elections, they have midterm. So everybody is working because they know that midterm election, I might lose my seats. When government realizes the direct impact of this, and the students go and get your PVC. Go and join that queue. Because we have enough people in the university to change the total outlook of elections in this country. Sure. Like if all the students that have been at home for 8 months decide they want to vote, they can choose our president. So it's important that government sees the repercussion of the strike as well. That way everybody knows what's at stake.
Yes.
Let me take this call from Agbaje. Good morning, Agbaje. Are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
You're live. Go ahead, please.
All right. I think the federal government is being testy, very testy. What they need to do is this, from my opinion, they should just pay those lecturers so that our students can go back to school. They have kept them at home for so long, and though we don't know what agreement the Speaker of the House was supposed to reach with them and the federal government. But I think at the time we go back to school, I'm very disappointed because that's how I see it. Then, from your paper review, I don't know if I can add one more thing regarding the last man, the road sign. The thing is, those last man people work with the boys on the street, Agbero. Yes, because I run a business, I run a logistic business. You never see that sign. You see a person on you need to go and remove that sign. They work with those boys in the street. Before you know, you're committed. So I think the best thing, according to what Nima said, is that we should be able to stop this thing. As an official on the road should be able to say, hey, this is while we go back, please, or should just be going straight forward so that we stop this harassment on the road.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Agbaje. You see, when we're talking about for the greater good, when we're talking about fighting, if you want us to fight for democracy, if you want us to fight for the good, we must be able to see it through. The last said it, I know, they know one died, they know I want Baba for house, Mama for house. We are all worried about me, myself, and I. It goes back to, if we're fighting, we must take the long haul fight. Go all out. Yeah. And that's the same thing we must teach even the young people. If we're going to say we're going to protest against something, let us protest regardless of the cost. We must be willing to pay that cost. We must be willing to pay that price. And if our leaders, our lecturers, the people ahead of us are not willing to, are saying after they've done the fighting, hey, go. Yeah, oh God, please now, pay us. That's the thing that we do. If we see that, young people behind us will not fight for any cause. They will continually compromise, don't you think?
I quickly mentioned the Konwa side because, there's handwriting on the wall and everybody can read it. It doesn't even take you to have strong depth to see that there is an active plan to divide ASUU and weaken the power of ASUU by divide and rule. When we create a parallel structure and we empower the parallel structure and make somebody profit, then there's always a challenge.
Let me take Alhaji Subra and I'll come to you, Nima. Good morning, Alhaji Subra. Are you there? Thanks for calling.
Thank you very much.
Good
morning.
Morning.
Yeah, thank you. I just want to say something on this ASUU issue. First of all, you see, the Minister of Labour is not helping the situation. It's compounding the situation right from beginning. True. You understand? But all I know is that you forgot that nothing has beginning that does not have an end. Authority does not continue. Yes. You will live there the one day. You understand? And the history will be there. You understand? Let me first of all appreciate Jabi Amila for going outside his our responsibility in campaigning for these children. I give kudos to him and I thank you very much. Secondly, I want to appeal to, all parents. We cannot afford our children to come back home. We are tired. We parents, we are tired. If the need be, the Parents Association, if government insists in doing whatever they like, because authority power comes from God. Power belongs to God. If they insist that is the way they are going, we parents in all universities, we should unite ourselves and and support. And support these people financially. We are ready to contribute. We are tired of.
Thank you, Alhaji Subra. Let's go on a quick break. When we come back, we'll continue with our conversation. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Thanks for staying with us. We're still discussing this matter of ASUU. Yes, Nima was going to say something.
Yes, I was going to say that, this is the first time that the federal government will issue no work, no pay. The moment ASUU went on this strike and they had the first meeting, you would see government officials staging walkouts. The Minister for Labour even called them names. There was this clash of authority, constituted authority against a civil society fighting for the rights of workers, a labor union. And that kind of ego, ASUU just, federal government just said to ASUU, well, that was the headline. I'm remembering it now. No work, no pay. I'm wondering, I'm now thinking, did the Minister for Labour, who is in charge of other labor unions as well, said the same to NMA? Did he do the same half-payment salaries to NMA? Is that why NMA called off strike and they just went to rest? Or that there's a personal vendetta against the head of ASUU? What's his name? I can't remember. It's an Shekiri name I'm trying to remember. It's clashing with Omotosho in my head. And, because I remember that particular headline. The mediation, the first one, the video, where the speaker was trying to settle them, where the Minister for Labour was walking out because ASUU was trying to state a point, and he just got up and he just walked away.
Can they try to?
It's not a person. Can you do the same with Nupeng, or is it because it's ASUU? Is there something personal? Is it your family village matter?
Let me take this call. I think I have a call. Can't remember the name. Good morning. Are you there? Hassan, you're live. Go ahead, please.
Good morning.
Morning. Go ahead, please.
Please, no one is right among two of them. Either ASUU or Federal Government of Nigeria. They must reach a compromise. We are used to one-way traffic in this country. Whenever there's a strike, everybody will be in support of people on strike. On this issue, it is very clear that ASUU wanted to dictate to federal government, and federal government is not taking it. And secondly, on the part of the federal government, they are trying to apply divide and rule tactics, which is very, very unfair and uncalled for. Because Nigerian masses and students are the victims here. And if the government is truly the government of the people, they should consider the parents and the students to arrive at a compromise. And with regard to what Dr. is saying, the students should come and organize themselves and vote the government out. It is not right. Because some people are doing something wrong. Should not warrant people coming together to vote the government out. Yeah. There's something wrong in going on strike. But there's a lot of wrong for government to divide and rule tactics.
Right.
This is
and I think many of these employers of government forget that there is a direct correlation between their behavior or what they do to the issue. Yeah, no, to even to the presidency, to the executive.
You cannot say there's a difference between
one thing Buhari can say this, but the person who is executing, if he's using his ego to execute, it's going to affect the presidency. So he said, oh, Buhari is not working. It's the people he has engaged who are obviously being egoistic.
When he addressed the issue that Tokwe talked about, that government is a continuum. Exactly. The issues ASUU is fighting did not start with this administration.
Yes.
This administration was well aware there was a whole year's strike before President Buhari became president.
True.
He was well aware of the issues that ASUU had with previous administrations.
Exactly.
He also came in saying he would do better. And when he came in, ASUU decided that you've continued to extend when you will start to do. We have not seen the issues of the effect of your doing.
Yes.
We are signing memorandums over and over again, and this time we not do again. Before they then went on strike, and rather than call them again in the same way you've called them that there was peace before your election, your Minister for Labour just carry crown on his head. He vexed. He turned himself to Igwe inside Nigeria matter and refused to be a mediator. He forgot his soft skills.
Emotional intelligence.
You know, he lost his emotional intelligence, staging walkouts at every mediation, provoking us to further say, we will die there, at the expense of Nigerian students. This is not the evidence.
I'll come to you, Tokwe, in a minute. Let me take this call. I've been holding for a minute. Good morning, Kelechi from Abuja. You're live.
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. Go ahead, please.
Well done, good work.
Thank you.
My name is Comrade Kelechi ZG from Abuja.
Good morning, comrade.
With all sincerity, I want to start on this note. In life, we don't always win all the time. Sometimes we win, sometimes we lose. And also in life, while hoping for the best, you also prepare for the worst. In this battle between the ASUU and the federal government, who happens to be the two lions, unfortunately, the grass is the students. Now, it's quite conspicuous that the two lions, none want to be seen as a loser here. And now, from the beginning, it was made to understand, or the ASUU made us to believe that they are actually not fighting for their personal interest, but for the interest of the Nigerian students, for the future sake, for the better operation and the facility of the institution. But what is happening now, they are trying to make us to also believe now that they are in turn fighting for their personal interest.
Right.
Now, in as much as I'm not in support of what the Minister of Labour did and the way he started the process, but now that the ASUU is fighting for their payment, who will pay the Nigerian students for what they have lost? It's quite obvious.
Thank you, Kelechi. You know, I hate to sound gender biased. I really do. But I think there are some certain positions that you just need a woman. The Ministry of Labour, Education, Health. Those three ministries, just put women there. Because we have proven to be emotionally intelligent in a lot of things. We know how to mediate. We know how to we have soft skills. We have relationship management skills. Because the male ego just keep flying up and down. And these are crucial ministries. Crucial because people are involved. Education, health, labor.
Quickly, please. Aside from that, I think we need to begin to insist that if you're going to take up leadership positions in this country, your children will attend our schools. Trust me. If all these ministers and governors had their children in this school, they will not stay at home 8 months.
And another
They will
angle
not
of
stay
this-
at home 8 months. So now that we have realized that the typical human being and the Nigerian person is selfish, we must insist, because that's the only way we can
must
get
pinch them.
everything to work. Because as someone who you have the affluence, you have the money and everything, you will not like your children to stay at home. So you will ensure that the schools that they are in will be properly refurbished and have quality.
Yeah.
We must begin to insist. And I don't know how we're going to add that in this, coming elections. That those are some of the questions we need to begin to ask.
In addition to that, the government needs to feel immediate impact of these strikes. ASUU is the only one that gets to go to strike for so long. Hope you know that there's an agency called NUPENG. Even NLC does not have mouth when NUPENG is not with them. So when they bring in NUPENG, everything grounds down to a halt.
Zero.
No government, no matter how big your ego is, you will calm down when you're facing NUPENG. Aviation industry wants to go on strike. Everybody knows they want to jet out. They will listen to them. So obviously, we don't value education.
Yes.
There are some people we don't value education because we have options.
You don't.
The
electricity
workers.
yes. Shut down our...
We feel is
the Minister for Power called them.
So we don't value our children. We don't feel like those people that are in school should be taken care of.
Yeah.
So we abandon them for
children are not there.
8
Months.
Because our
You
children are
cannot
not
leave NUPENG for 1 month. You cannot leave aviation industry to be on strike for 1 month. There are industries, of course, everything in life is not equal, but
you have
what's your priority? We see what your priority
Where your
is.
priority is. Don't finish talk.
Fantastic. You don't finish them.
let's just-
That is it. Let us take this call. Good morning, Pastor. Are you there?
Yeah, I'm with
You're
you.
live. Go ahead, please.
Okay. Thank you so much. I'm the first caller.
First caller or first time caller? Go ahead.
Thank you for the good work you are doing.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
I want to chip in this ASUU issue and government. I want us to know that, what your colleague just said, if all these our politicians, their children are in this schools, all these things will not happen. And I don't want us to see ASUU as wicked, because this issue has been lingering for a long time. And ASUU is trying to put permanent solution, bring permanent solution to this issue. Because if they just become, simple about it, it will continue like that.
Pastor, Pastor, are you there? Pastor, hear me out. I want us to really have a good conversation. Where we are today, the strike has been called off. Lecturers have gone back to the classrooms. The issue today is not what federal government wants to do or not to do. The issue today is that the salaries that were not paid in the past 8 months, why is federal government not paying it? Do you think the federal government should pay it, or do you think ASUU should accept it as a loss for that period?
Yes, ma'am. Okay.
Which?
It's okay. My stand, hello?
Yes.
My stand is, I ask that the federal government should pay the salary.
Okay.
You pay them the money.
Oh, I wanted to engage him. He just lost that call. Sorry about that. So he wants the salary. But that's fine. Let's take a few comments on social media before we run off.
Rolake O says, she says, sorry,
Okay, while you're looking for it, Adedotu says their children are still in school abroad and they keep putting it in our faces when their children graduate. They are just not concerned. That's the leaders. Oladidi says Ngige has doctors amongst his children. He still showed doctors Pepe when they were on strike. Go ahead.
But he paid them full salary. Rolake says the reason why ASUU went on strike was because government never fulfilled its agreement. I knew the government was being deceptive, but our parents are so gullible to believe in their lies. A government that came in with a manifesto that never manifested and made Nigerians more impoverished. William Solajumoke says, if all parties involved should count their losses, some students lived off campus and 1 year rent has been wasted now. What about the food and provision left behind by students that are now spoiled? Life itself is a sacrifice. Everyone should move on for the greater good. UNISA says, it's a very simple scenario. If the federal government do not have the intention to pay the backlog of salaries, then schools should cancel work for previous sessions and not force lecturers to do the work not paid for.
They are not forcing, they can move it.
Khalid Showemimo says, please let the government do the needful. They do it as if Nigeria is their business, Abi is their money. ASUU are fighting the right cause. God. These governments are intentional to destroy educational system, and it's a demarketing.
So this issue of their students are not in school. Okay, so for example now, if your child is actually, if you're a private person, and your children, maybe your first child is in the first year university abroad, by the time she's going to second year, you decide to go into politics because you want to solve Nigeria's problem. You now win the election. Is the government saying, are you saying as Nigerian people that, okay, now my child that that's already in year 2 in Cambridge,
do transfer
come back to Nigeria?
Federal University, do transfer.
Is that fair,
But leadership.
You decided,
listen. Is that fair on me? That I won't then.
Leadership is about service. Now, one of the reasons people will fight, kill, tooth and nail to get into leadership is because there are so many perks and nobody's holding you accountable if you don't do anything. Some leaders have their houses abroad. They come here, they serve, and then they jet out. They are not living here. They do not feel the pains of the people. So we are saying that we have realized that human beings are naturally selfish. Until we get to that that place where everybody can be treated equally. There are some things we must put in place. If you choose to serve, they're not force you. There are many people waiting to serve. They don't have money to buy tickets. Yes, you must be willing to serve properly. So come down from that your high horse, serve the people, do what you can do. When you retire or you leave office in 4 years or 8 years, you can go back to your status. Nobody's arguing with you.
Add that.
Please.
Instead of you to remove your child, can we put a requirement that if your child once goes abroad, you cannot qualify for public office?
That's another.
Because we don't want to put you inside hardship.
We are not. We don't implement our rules.
We don't implement it because we have a rule that you can't have two citizenship.
Yes.
Outside. And most of them have
3, 4.
Can we implement what we have?
Yeah, exactly.
And there's this tweet that captures this situation very well. Prince Austin Orji says, Ngige's attitude to the whole strike saga is not helping at all. He is so arrogant. Where is the education minister in all this talk? That is what you get when you make a medical doctor a labor minister. Can you make somebody who is has a degree in conflict and whatever resolutions, or some diplomatic courses? Someone has as a minister for labor who will be mediating and
children are in Nigerian universities, and that's where it goes with.
Because school is private now.
Private is different now. They're not on strike.
The person that sent that message.
Wait now, listen. My point is that let us not make general statements that we're not sure. There's a possibility. Me, I know, for example, I know one person that all his children schooled here, and he's a public servant.
Okay.
Glue is your friend. Glue.
Yes.
Wait, it's not Google. Glue is your friend. All the convocations that happened
that they're showing us.
That we saw the pictures that we were shouting on this table. Stop posting pictures. We
saw it now.
All the convocations that happened that ripened on our
faces. Let's not make a blanket statement that all of them have their children abroad. Some of them might have their children.
They have it abroad.
Let's not make an assumption.
If I was in that position and my children are abroad, I would do if people don't want to go back to school, don't go back to school now because it's not affecting me personally. See, we need to get to a point where everything that happens in the country affects the leaders personally. That's how they feel the pain. When Minister Fashola was in government, he would deliberately come down and take buses just to see how it is. That is leadership. That's true leadership.
You cannot
understand it. You just sit on the table, pass policies that are not working for the normal people because you're not there. You don't have houses here, so you don't feel NEPA. You have everything. You don't feel the pains
Okay, let me give you an example.
You don't use medical facilities here because you have options. People are dying. There's no oxygen.
Let me bring it home.
Former governor of Anambra State retired from office
that night.
And he was arrested at the airport. After they released him on bail, he did Christmas in the US and put pictures online. So you cannot have a backup plan and this country
Exactly. It won't work.
So the conversation.
Let me bring you home. Because it's always good for you to say, they have a brother.
Bring us.
Some of you in this Nigeria, you were born and raised in a certain community. Okay. You have small change. You go and buy a house in Lekki.
Yes.
You have a house in Lekki. Now, because you grew up in this small village, or because you feel the sense of responsibility to help and support, and now you come back to that place, and they don't want to accept you and say, oh, because you already built a house, you're not one of us. You can't understand, you can't relate, because you already have a house in Lekki. You're not in this community anymore. And you say, no, I am in Nigeria. I am from this community. I was born here. I'm raised. I can bring my experience, and I can help the community. They say, no. you cannot become a leader. We don't even want you at all because you have moved to this area. That's what we are saying.
They don't
You
say
can
no.
serve.
We are saying
You can serve, but you can't lead
So we're
because you
saying
don't
now,
understand.
you should leave your Lekki house and come and live in the village.
Yes!
You can,
How
so that
would
you
you
feel their
see
pain.
this thing happens? I remember I grew up in Amuwodo.
I wanted to say,
inside
finish
our local
talking.
government,
I have to bring in a
in
different
that
angle. Yeah, we
our
get you.
local government, somebody campaigned, became councillor. As he became councillor,
Bam,
he
you go
gathered
build
money.
house for.
He has left the
Yes, now.
And then he was still representing you.
and he's still representing us.
So that when they take light, you will now call him and tell him.
So I feel that it is important that you must feel what other people
Pains
are
of the
feeling.
people.
And we have several laws that protect us. The government is quick to enforce the industrial law of no work, no pay. But are we enforcing the fact that the average politician in Nigeria has other passports for other countries, and most of their children
their
have
kids
other
options.
options?
If their children matter,
They have options.
No,
And
but
the same thing now.
because I want
This country now
Nigeria
for the next
to work.
generation. Now we
I
will
tell
don't
people all
pass.
the time. I say Nigeria must not scatter. Where will my children go?
Go,
Where
yeah.
will I? Where
Because
will
we
I
are-
be?
it's not about us.
Exactly. I said so.
It's
It's
about
not
the
just about
children.
me. I have parents. My husband's parents are also here. The effect is wide.
Yeah.
So your decisions are. If it's not about you, the leader will not make a decision based on themselves.
Yeah.
The reason so many people are relocating abroad and saying, because of my children, I want them to have
For
better
schools.
education. I want to have better access to healthcare. So it is all for your children, yourself. Our politicians to also think about it. The fact that everybody in your family, the situation is at stake. They have things at stake if they are here. And it's not affecting them. That's the reality. If they cough, our president's son, as he had God forbid anything,
Germany.
he was gone, take it to Germany. Governors will
President
have
himself.
accidents. The president is taking his medical record, is in the UK. So what are we saying?
See
We are
how
not ready.
COVID exposed us, so COVID.
No,
we
many
don't
politicians
COVID
died
down.
now.
No,
They
hold
can't
on.
COVID
No, the
exposed
time
us.
that there was lockdown, that nobody could check out.
Yes,
You
now.
not see how many people that died.
Murayo,
No option.
honorable
No
member
second option.
representing Amuodofin was coming to see us landlocked with tankers. He went to Ikoyi to carry a boat to Jetty.
He first went to
That's what we are saying. He came through boats. In the community that your people are suffering every day, you cannot represent a people and you are not among
And you are
them.
not there. Yeah.
They cannot be reporting for you every day. Hello, guy. Hello,
stuck in
honorable sir.
traffic.
Honorable sir.
you
Tanker
are
falling down. Honorable sir, we are suffering this.
You need to
Honorable sir,
see.
when you are in your house watching AC, you be like, these people, their phone call is
calling
beginning
me
to
too much.
it's beginning to stress me.
Put it on,
Proper silent phone.
And
you
so
know,
I think
later
we're
you
getting
switch it
somewhere
off.
with this conversation because the truth is, and I think that also goes back to the heart of Nigerians. You know, if you're going to become a leader, where are your businesses? Many of our leaders are trying to become leaders. Many of them, their businesses
That's
are
what we
outside.
do.
don't have any business.
Many of them own
Dollarizing their
in fact, they are the ones looking for dollars.
They
Yes,
spend
now.
dollars in Nigeria.
Yeah.
You meet them. When they are tipping people, when they are giving people money,
$100.
it's dollars. They don't have naira in their pockets because the kind of money they want to give you is bulky. They say,
That's
I
why
don't want to
Tope-
carry big money,
Tope, I was
so I give
hoping
dollars.
That's news that false news that came from the US. That US wants to start.
Yeah, I wish
hoped
it
we're all
was.
like, hey, I hope it's true. Where the US government can say, okay, for a certain dollar for a certain date, it's no
2021.
longer valid. But we hear it's false. If peradventure they do
Yes.
that thing is true.
But
Hey,
even
hey,
that,
baby.
because they are benefiting.
But the truth is that many people will bring out their dollars.
Yes,
Money
so
go flow.
money will
People
be
just start
flowing
covering up their
everywhere.
dollar and going to the banks. Then we can begin to trace. But unfortunately, it's false story. But you see, there are some
That's how
drastic
people is encouraging
measures
corruption.
that must be taken if this country must be moved forward. And that's what we have said on this table.
Yes.
That if you are going to lead,
Tie
you
your
must be from
belt.
us.
Yes.
You must be from
Must
us.
be
Be among
sacrifice.
us.
You must be in love with us.
Yes, and
you
among
must be so in love
You
with
must
us that
feel
you
it.
want a better. You must be able to pinch your leg when the other person is rolling on the floor. The Prophet Islam said that it's almost sinful when you put the rights of the neighbor, that your neighbor goes to bed hungry and you had a full plate of food
That you
still
didn't
put away in
finish.
the morning. It's a lesson of my religion. So the way we live here, we don't see the neighbor.
But
We
Nima, why
sleep
we always
well.
focus on only the leaders? We do these things you're saying
Eh,
across, but from
you
top
see.
all the way to the
You see
bottom.
that
We the ones
influence.
Many people are
that
doing
from
it,
going
so-
to
People, listen. I want
see
to
the people, they
listen.
want
Wait,
to
wait,
start
wait,
from
wait,
the
wait,
influence
listen,
on down.
Yeah.
Yes, I don't want to. It's always easy to have a conversation and say it's from top bottom.
But it's from
some-
top bottom.
No, not all the time.
No, it
fine.
is.
Listen, BC, let me finish. We can say top bottom for maybe 1999 when we entered democracy. After the military left, when we started seeing changes and people that started taking money here and there, we can see that. But they said that Yoruba says that Toba be ole ture be if you know better. and you should be able to do better. If you do better, if I do better, wouldn't Nigeria change? You also wait for the leader to do better before we start changing.
Okay, so what can we now on this table
your
do
little-
to make ASUU change and go back to school?
ASUU.
No,
ASUU is not our own direct responsibility. The one that is your responsibility, what are you doing?
No, so we started
Yeah,
this
well,
conversation
I
from
hear
a
you.
problem. We are saying to solve this problem, the leaders need to be accountable to
In
solve
their
the
own
problem.
jurisdiction.
Hey,
You as a Nigerian citizen, your own jurisdiction,
Yes,
what have you done?
I'm doing
Yeah,
a lot.
you.
I had a training
Plenty
program.
of
I'm doing a lot.
Forget about you now. Be talking about the Nigerian law.
What
Everybody's
Nigerians are
doing.
Right, everybody's doing.
Orion,
Everybody
Nigerians
is
are
doing.
opening roads.
They are doing.
Nigerians are buying their own transformers, putting their own
They are
roads and
doing.
interlocking their own
Yes.
blocks.
Forget.
Only for local government that refuse to access them for that development.
Okay, what of
To
the
be able to
Nigerian?
access them for the
Nima,
taxes.
what of the Nigerian?
It's
that
not
the federal,
fair.
wait, what of the Nigerian that the federal government put rails on the tracks
And they go and
remove
steal
it
it.
and go and say, what of that Nigeria? What happens?
They are not-
Who is, so the
yes,
point is
I
that we
get
are all
you.
doing it. What of the teacher who is cheating for his child so that you can have a heavy
role
stress?
of government
Cheating for their
is
children.
to
So we are all
manage-
doing something within our own small jurisdictions. And the moment we start fixing our individual problems, then when you I'm almost done, Nima. When you remove your own log that you are doing, you can see clearly what your local government chairman is doing. When all of you are already in the dirt, if your local chairman is stealing, you are just putting in an opportunity. When I get there, I'll do my own. So you are all as dirty as him.
Yeah, so when we
Right.
have systems,
On
Okay,
this
let me-
table, I have confirmed
Yes.
that my community, they would not pay for waste carrying. They don't pay for waste management. They don't understand it.
You
Because
handle
we've seen it. I have tested it. I have seen people do it. Tie their waste and find a place to dump it. But then, I cannot come and sit here and say that that community was developed by any local government anywhere. I dare the local government person to show up. Administrations passed. Come and tell me how you developed that place. I've lived there 14 years. I see how, even this period of transportation, after they destroyed the road that we did last year, the community, I have the WhatsApp messages of every house being taxed, money to come and pour something on the road again. And the local government was aware that that diversion happened within their local governments. That was the alternative everybody was using. The government show up and say, oh, we've seen about this thing, so, but let taxes time come. They will knock on your door and be coming the taxes. If you can access those houses for revenue, you can access those houses for development. Why would you not do the same?
So we have to wrap up. Yes, we
let
have
me
very-
quickly just say, So we must always look forward. You're meant to look up, not look down. So the people in the bottom will look up to leadership. What examples are they getting from leadership? So if you want correction that will go around, there's little we as individuals
have done our best.
can do for the whole, for collective. So it's the people at the top who will put in the systems, correct it, that when you are messing up from bottom, the systems will handle you till we clean out those other people and everybody will adjust. We cannot sit down here and say, I want to be the first to do. It's okay that we are doing. It's okay that people are doing. Those people who go and steal the rail, and they sell them, most of them are not educated. They are not educated. Most of them are living
for
below
strikes like
$1 a day. So their problem is even different, that we need to start reorienting
So
and
what you're
encouraging
saying,
and
we have to
educating them.
wrap up. What you're saying about the system, that man who is stealing from the train tracks, if there was a camera by government to monitor and check the roads and there's
will
lights,
get him.
they will
As
catch
if-
him.
might not.
And that's the
Even
system.
and goes
He might
over
not,
at
and so the system will fix it. Then everybody can go crazy. I get the point. Yes.
And also, if the modeling from the top shows us that criminality doesn't pay, if we see our leaders that they didn't just become rich overnight or things just didn't, life didn't just become soft for them because they became politicians, then we understand that I'm on my journey. Even the politician self is also entering the same portal with me. But we see that their own life becomes better. So the average person too is now wondering, whatever I can do to make my life better.
survive.
I would like to leave to finalize with this last comment from Tom Polo when he was talking about the bunkering, oil bunkering in pipeline.
Vandalization.
He said, they kill my people. We steal like a cup of oil. My people are stealing a cup. He said, it is the big men. Nobody can steal without sorting out military, sorting out navy, because they are stealing with vessels. He said, but what do? They send people and vandalize and kill my people for stealing a cup. What many of our leaders are doing is pointing fingers at those stealing a cup. And people steal a cup will say, I will steal a cup. You are stealing gallon.
bags, yes.
So when you stop stealing gallon, the person stealing cup will stop stealing cup.
I think we've had a good conversation because it's always important to bring out different perspectives of this kind of conversation. And it's good to know that yes, we want the people to change. Because I always say, with the people, what are you doing? But the truth is that you have to show leadership by example. People must see. So imagine if our president is not feeling well and there's a Nigerian doctor attending to him, Nigerians will feel,
Like
maybe something's going to happen. Yes. So these are those little things. It's not, the big things are great. And I think government always forgets. The big policies, the anchor borrowers, those are great things. But it's those soft things that you do see that Nigerians observe and say, yes, they're all purchasing innocent. Fantastic. Okay, maybe this country is really changing for the better. It's when we do those things that Nigerians really to believe. And when they believe, they know that you're working in their interest. And then it's easy for you to campaign. True. See you tomorrow.
Are we done? We're not done.
We're not done.
We have one more.
We have health. We have health.
Right back.